On the morning of the 18th of April 2016, the small community of Midlothian, Texas, woke up to a story so bizarre and chilling that it quickly made headlines across the nation. A beloved mother and fitness instructor, Missy Bevers, arrived early to prepare for her 5 a.m. workout class. She walked into the church where her campers would soon gather, completely unaware that someone was already inside, waiting. Within the hour, Missy was brutally murdered. But it wasn't just the crime itself that shocked investigators. It was what the killer left behind on camera. Who was Missy Bevers? Missy Bevers was 45 years old, a devoted wife, mother of 3 daughters, and an energetic fitness instructor. She had a warm, vibrant personality and was known for motivating her students at the Camp Gladiator boot camp she ran at local churches and schools. She was deeply involved in her community, balancing her love for teaching fitness with her dedication to her family. By all accounts, Missy had no enemies. Her husband, Brandon Beavers, worked as a commercial real estate agent, often traveling for business. On the night before her death, he was out of town on a fishing trip, leaving Missy to get ready for another early morning class. A horrifying discovery. At 5 a.m. sharp on April 18th, Missy's campers began arriving at the Creekside Church of Christ, where she was scheduled to lead her boot camp. Instead of finding Missy ready with her usual energy, they stumbled upon a scene of horror. Missy had been attacked and killed inside the church. When police arrived, they quickly realized this wasn't a simple burglary gone wrong. There was something strange, almost theatrical, about the way that the crime had been carried out. The surveillance footage. The church's security cameras provided a shocking twist. At around 3:50 a.m., an hour and 10 minutes before Missy's arrival, a figure entered the church. They were dressed head to toe in what looks like SWAT or tactical police gear, helmets, vests, gloves, and all. You can see this footage on screen now. The footage showed the figure casually wandering the halls, breaking glass, opening doors, and appearing to search for something. But here's the detail that made the case infamous. The person moved with a strange, almost limping gait. Their feet were pointed outwards, and their walk was so distinctive that police hoped somebody in the community would be able to recognize it. When Missy entered the building at around 4:20 a.m., she walked straight into the path of this disguised intruder. What happened next wasn't caught on camera, but by 5 a.m., she was dead. The investigation begins. From the very beginning, detectives were baffled. Nothing had been stolen. The church had no major valuables. Why would someone break into a dark, empty church in full tactical gear and then kill a fitness instructor? Police first looked at Missy's personal life. Her phone revealed some flirtatious and possibly inappropriate text messages with individuals outside her marriage, which investigators explored as a potential motive. However, no evidence directly linked those communications to her death. Attention also turned to her husband, Brandon, but he had a solid alibi. He was hundreds of miles away on a fishing trip, confirmed by multiple witnesses. Investigators also scrutinized other family members, including Missy's father-in-law, Randy Beavers, who drew attention when surveillance footage showed him walking with a similar gait to the suspect. But Randy also had a strong alibi, and DNA tests cleared him. The theories. The release of the surveillance footage fueled endless theories. Some believed that Missy was specifically targeted, given how the killer seemed to be lying in wait. Others argued it could have been a burglary, staged to look like something more sinister. But if it was a burglary, why wear such elaborate gear? Why loiter in the church, smashing windows, instead of quickly grabbing something and leaving? And the most haunting theory is that Missy's killer disguised themselves as law enforcement to mislead investigators and to hide their identity. The particular gate, however, remains the single most compelling clue, and no one has ever been able to match it to a definitive suspect. The aftermath. Nearly a decade later, Missy's murder remains unsolved. Her family continues to seek justice, while investigators insist the case is still active. The footage of the mysterious figure in tactical gear has become one of the most chilling pieces of evidence in modern true crime, a haunting reminder of the morning Missy Bevers walked into a trap she could never escape. The murder of Missy Bevers is more than just a tragic crime. It is a story filled with unanswered questions, eerie surveillance footage, and a community left shaken to its core. Who was the figure in the tactical gear? Why did they target Missy? And how has this person managed to evade justice for so long? Until we get answers to those questions, this case will remain one of the most unsettling mysteries in recent history. On the 13th of February 2017, in the quiet town of Delphi, Indiana, two best friends, Abigail Williams and Libby German, set out for an afternoon hike along the Monon High Bridge Trail. It was a normal day with no signs of danger, but within 24 hours the girls would be missing, and soon after their bodies would be discovered near the trail. The crime shocked the small town, and what made it even more chilling was the evidence that Libby herself had captured on her phone. These recordings became both the most haunting clue and the biggest mystery in the case. Background on the victims. Abigail "Abby" Williams, 13, was a bright and artistic teenager who loved photography and the outdoors. Her best friend, Libby German, 14, was described as outgoing and fearless, with a passion for sports and a strong sense of justice. The girls had a bond that was inseparable. On the 13th of February, school was out for a snow day. Libby's older sister dropped the girls off at the trailhead of the Monon High Bridge at around 1:30 p.m. They planned to spend a few hours walking, exploring, and taking photos. By mid-afternoon, when they didn't show up at the agreed pickup point, their families grew concerned. The tragic discovery. That evening, a massive search was launched. Hundreds of volunteers scoured the woods, fields, and riverbanks. The following day, 14th of February, the girls' bodies were tragically discovered near Deer Creek, less than a mile from where they'd been seen last. The crime was brutal. Investigators have never released the exact details of how Abby and Libby were killed, but they confirm that there was foul play involved. What was most shocking, though, wasn't just the discovery of the bodies. It was the evidence that Libby had left behind. The cell phone clues. In an act of courage beyond her years, Libby had recorded part of the encounter with the man responsible. On her phone, police found both a short video clip and audio recording. The video showed a man walking along the Monon High Bridge towards the girls. He was dressed in jeans, a blue jacket, and a cap pulled low. His hands were in his pockets as he walked with a deliberate, almost predatory stride. The audio was even more chilling. A male voice could be heard saying, "Guys, down the hill." These words have echoed ever since, both in the media and in the minds of investigators. The clip became the centerpiece of the investigation, released publicly in the hope that someone would recognize the man's voice, gait, or appearance. The troubling investigation. From the beginning, police treated the case with urgency. The FBI and Indiana State Police joined local authorities in one of the largest manhunts the state has ever seen. Thousands of tips poured in, but despite the video and audio evidence, no immediate arrests were made. Investigators released multiple sketches over the years showing different potential suspects. The first sketch portrayed an older-looking man with a goatee and a cap. Later, a new sketch was unveiled, this time of a younger man with curly hair, clean-shaven, and much slimmer. The drastic change in appearance only deepened the confusion. Detectives also suggested that the killer may have been someone local, familiar with the area and the trail system. Theories and speculation. The haunting recording led to countless theories. Was the man a drifter who happened upon the girls? Or was he a local predator who knew the trail and its isolated points too well? Some even speculated that the killer might have joined the search efforts the nights the girls were reported missing, blending in with volunteers. Others questioned whether multiple people were involved. Theory spread across social media, with amateur sleuths dissecting every frame of the video, analyzing the man's gait, clothing, and voice. Despite this, for years the case remained unsolved. The break in the case. In October of 2022, after more than 5 years of speculation, police arrested Richard Allen, a Delphi resident who lived just a short drive from the trail. Allen worked at a local CVS pharmacy and had no major criminal record. The announcement shocked the town, as Allen was known as an ordinary family man who had lived quietly in Delphi for years. Police linked Allen to the scene through ballistic evidence, specifically a gun he owned that matched an unspent cartridge found near the girls' bodies. Investigators also noted that Allen admitted that he had been on the trail that day, though he denied involvement. The trial is still ongoing, and while Allen has pleaded not guilty, his arrest has brought some measure of relief to the families of Abby and Libby. Still, until a conviction is secured, the haunting mystery of the Delphi murders continues to hang over the town. As of the date of recording this video, Richard Allen is still being held in custody, with his legal team being granted a final extension, which means that his trial will begin on October the 6th, 2025. The murder of Abby Williams and Libby German is a story of unimaginable tragedy, but also one of bravery. Libby's decision to record the man on her phone provided investigators with crucial evidence and ensured that the world would never forget their story. Like the Missy Bevers case, the Delphi murders are defined by haunting footage and unanswered questions. Both remind us that evil can sometimes walk in plain sight, disguised in everyday clothing, blending in to ordinary communities. And both leave us wondering how someone could commit such terrible acts, and for how long will justice remain just out of reach.